alive. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. As I said in my post earlier, when I was on my lunch break, there are a few things that get my blood boiling. But I can safely say, without any shadow of a doubt, what happened on Remembrance Sunday has definitely got my fucking blood boiling. You would think that every group known to man, in this country that is, could come together on one day and be able to remember the war dead. Remember all those people who fought and died in 2 world wars to give us freedom from a party full of socialists. Yes, I call the Nazis socialists now because that's what I have been educated on by the manifesto book. And then for anybody who has missed the second part, or third part, whatever it is, 20 to 30, the pages that is, please go check it out, because there are some home truths, including the fact that Adolf Hitler was not far right. He was actually far left. But anything the mainstream media can do to divert attention and project from their failures. But I'm not here to talk about Adolf Hitler. I'm here to talk about the cenotaph, remembering the war dead, and of course, the usual suspects. But before I do that, there was something that I actually noticed after I found out about the pro-Palestine group. And that is, there was another attack on Remembrance Sunday when 2 robbers went in and robbed a convenience store and fired their shotguns. Yeah. Now, I don't know whether or not it's Islam or not. I suspect it isn't, but I have to say they could be, because I don't know what they are. It would be speculation at best and potentially untrue at worst. But I'll tell you what I can say for a fact is Islamic in nature. The knife attack. Oh, God. Bloody pothole in the middle of the leaves. Anyway, there is that one attack with people holding knives, basically went around slashing and stabbing people. 1 man is dead, several others were wounded, and their faces have already been shown, and they definitely look like the religion of peace kind, don't they? Remember, this is Remembrance Sunday, a day where we're supposed to be remembering our war dead, and these Islamic vermin, because that's what they are going out of their way to kill the kafir, the kafar, the kafuffle, whatever you want to call them. Basically, the non-believers. Now, this would be bad enough, but then you have to factor in this. Keir the traitor Starmer is trying to fast-track all the Islamic immigrants into our country. He wants to import the third world shitholes and turn our country into a third world shithole. And I ask you, is this what Britain wants? Is this what you want? I tell you right now, it's not what I fucking want. Last time I checked, this is Great Britain. This is England. Not Britannistan. Not Englandistan. Not Londonistan. As I've said before, the basic principle should be that if I go and visit another country, I would be expected to follow their customs, their rules, respect their beliefs. And frankly, I'd probably keep to myself. Not because I don't have much care for other people of the country, but rather I don't want to cause any bloody trouble. But of course, instead, we have these Islamic scumbags, or sorry, should I call them Mohammedans? You know, the ones who get offended if you call them that, and they want you to call them by whatever they want you to call them by. By submitting to what they say and calling them Islamists or jihadists or whatever, you're basically submitting to Islam. So I will try from this point forwards to call them Mohammedans in future, just like Calvin Robertson, or sorry, Father Calvin Robertson. But I digress. These Mohammedans that come over from their third world shitholes, or perhaps are even homegrown, by marrying inbred cousins and doing inbreeding. These people have no respect for our beliefs, our culture, and our war dead. They would rather drape the cenotaph in their Palestine flag, their hateful flag, their terrorist sympathising flag. Well, now even centrist groups and left-wing groups are coming out and saying that we should ban this lot. And they're quite right. I would want any terrorist organisation banned on the streets, even more so on Remembrance Sunday. But here we have our sectarianist bastard leader, Keir the traitor Starmer, trying to fast-track all the Mohammedan immigrants into our country. Now, there was one other thing I was hoping for when Remembrance Sunday took place. I was hoping when Keir the traitor Starmer showed up at that cenotaph, I hope those army men and women would have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to turn their backs on the traitor. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that happened. But I tell you what, no matter how unfit I may be, no matter whether or not I look like 2 people or 5 people, if I had principles, which I most certainly do, and I was in the army, I wouldn't give a shit if an NCO comes and nicks me afterwards. I would turn my back on the fucking traitor for all of his treachery and dishonesty towards the British people and the disrespect to our elderly and our fucking war dead. That man is not fit to lick the polish off our soldiers' shoes, our veterans' shoes. And when you see Keir the traitor Starmer with Tony the war criminal Blair, Gordon the bully and blundering Brown, Boris the clown Johnson, and Theresa the treasoner May, I want to fucking puke seeing all of them together. Quite frankly, I have never seen such a shower of shit in my entire life. Except maybe that one time on Thursday on a bad curry night and my porcelain throne. Anyway, I have never seen such a crock of shit, a shower of shit, of politicians who don't really care about the dead, who don't really care about the elderly, and the fact that Keir the traitor Starmer is taking their winter fuel payments away. No, I see a bunch of... Stroke number 1. I see a bunch of heartless, gutless politicians who are in it for power and money, rather than the prosperity of his own country. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. The fact that Tony the war criminal Blair has the audacity to stand at our cenotaph rather than where he rightfully belongs, in a fucking prison cell for war crimes, is totally beyond me. Where's the justice in this country? Where is the justice that says that Keir the traitor Starmer and Tony the war criminal Blair will face crimes against humanity? In Tony Blair's case, war crimes. Gordon the bully and blundering Brown, he should also be in jail, quite frankly. The only thing I can think of why these politicians stood by that cenotaph, there's only one reason, and that is these motherfuckers have no moral compass. They are about as much on the straight and narrow as my sister is on a drunken bender. As I said, Tony the war criminal Blair should be in prison, Keir the traitor Starmer should be in prison, Boris the clown Johnson couldn't stay still for 5 fucking seconds, and treasoner Theresa May should also face prison for the betrayal of Britain by giving us a Brino, a Brexit in name only. The same traitorous Prime Minister did everything he could to block the farming protest, which now the farmers are fighting back against this ban. And quite rightly too. I don't know a shitload about the farmers because I haven't really looked into it too much, but from what I understand, I don't think they had to pay taxes too much, and frankly, nor should they. Last time I checked, farmers provide us with crucial food. You know, the thing that sustains us alongside water. And I know I look like I've had so many meals from the farmers, don't I? But anyway, the point is, they provide for our future. If we don't have farmers, we have no food. We have no food, we have no future. We will go extinct, just like that. Or bare minimum, we'll have to import it. And that's not going to be pretty. Keir the traitor Starmer would do very well to remember that. But then, as I said, he's too busy trying to block the protest, which is him unequivocally showcasing his fascism once again. The sectarianist, traitorous, fascistic bastard that Keir the traitor Starmer truly is. And that's the thing, I'm not afraid to say this shit, because unlike a lot of people, and you can say it with me, I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I am not going to mince my words. I am going to say it exactly how it is, and I'll do my best not to bullshit you. I cannot even begin to imagine the gymnastics that those soldiers 6 feet under are currently doing right now. They're not just turning in their graves, they're doing fucking cartwheels, forward flips, front flips, back flips, and every other fucking flip, and roly-poly as well. They cannot stand this idea that Keir the traitor Starmer would sell our country downriver. All this as well, and here's the kicker. As I said, I'm no fan anymore of Nigel the phony Farage. But while the police couldn't be fucked to deal with the Palestine wankers who draped our cenotaph in their terrorist sympathising flag, our police couldn't be bothered to deal with the people who had a monument, or a effigy, sorry, wrong word, an effigy of Nigel Farage, and that effigy was burning. How many arrests do you think were made? That's right, 0. More blatant two-tier policing from two-tier Keir the traitor Starmer. As I said, and I cannot stress this enough, I wouldn't give a shit. If I was in the army, I wouldn't give a shit if it got me demoted 10 ranks or kicked out the army like a dishonourable discharge. I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be turning my back on this traitor, 100%. I'd turn my back and then I'd give him the old one-finger salute. Because the bottom line is, Keir the traitor Starmer has nothing in common with the British people. He is about as respectable as a road-killed skunk. It truly amazes me what little shame this man has. It astonishes me that Keir the traitor Starmer still, after all of this, feels like he can remain in power after all the shit he's done to this country. Rising prices on energy bills, screwing over the British people by taking political prisoners, the great Southport cover-up. They knew it was an Islamic terrorist, a Mohammedan terrorist, that went out and killed 3 lovely girls, God rest their souls. The fact that this man is actively trying to fast-track Mohammedan scumbags into our country that are completely intolerant of our beliefs and our cultures and can't even respect our war dead. And the fact that this man thinks that it's perfectly okay to have a budget that is going to completely butcher this country. But then this is something, of course, the mainstream media don't want to tell you. They don't want to report the facts. They want you to see what they want you to believe. The propagandist state will focus on diverting your attention away from the fascism that is hidden in plain sight. They will do everything they can to distract you from the fact we have a sectarianist bastard and a fascist for a prime minister. They will project it's the far right that are responsible for this, when they can't even get their fucking facts straight. And a lot of these media outlets, if we had cops that had the balls, whether upstairs or downstairs, or in my case both, to actually go after these media companies, they would go bankrupt under Section 2 of the 2006 Fraud Act. Just like that. They would have no credibility, no money, and no place in our country. And as much as I don't like Nigel Farage, for the Prime Minister, Keir the traitor Starmer, and all the other shills in the left wing to say, oh, we don't want Reform UK up at that cenotaph. I don't care whether I've lost support in Reform. I don't care if Richard Tice and Witless Widdicombe and Nigel Phony Farage are going to end up stabbing us in the back. I don't give a shit. This should be a day where everyone can come together, whether you like a person or hate their guts. And you should be able to respect the war dead. The fact that they are making this political is not only extremely childish, it's downright... the words are fake. But it infuriates me to such a great degree. The amount of fervent hatred that I have for this decision cannot be measured in words alone. Nigel Farage has every right to go to that memorial, that cenotaph, because he at least respects our war dead. You, Keir the traitor Starmer, you wouldn't even give a fuck if soldiers went off to another country and died for you. You'd be like, oh, that's another statistic. And then you'd pretend they've done a great service for the government. You mean they've done a great service serving you and funding wars, you traitorous sectarianist bastard. People like Winston Churchill cared a lot more than you, Keir the traitor Starmer. Like I said, you wouldn't give a fuck if loads of soldiers went out today and got killed fighting in a Ukrainian war, which frankly they have no business being in. You don't respect the British people. You don't respect our elderly, let alone the fucking war dead. And you want to sit here. You don't have any right to be at that cenotaph. And I know it's a bit hypocritical, me saying it, when I'm saying Nigel Farage has every right to be there. But here's the difference. Nigel Farage, Nigel the Phony Farage, he may not be the person that'll fix this country, but I'll tell you what he isn't, a fucking traitor like you. Nigel at least respects those who gave their lives, the ultimate sacrifice in 2 world wars, to give us freedom. You, Keir the traitor Starmer, you, as I said, wouldn't be fucked if they got killed. Like, for you, you'd probably think, okay. Anyway, moving on. But I can't wait to see you face a court, Keir the traitor Starmer. I cannot wait for you to join your friend Tony the war criminal Blair in front of a court. And if I had my way, the traitor law would be brought back and you two would be hanging from the gallows, quite frankly. I don't think the words, "you've got some nerve," would come close to describing you, Keir the traitor Starmer. I really don't. You have got the likability, Keir the traitor Starmer.
This is service 38 to UTCN.
Shut up, you. Anyway, you have got as much likability, Keir the traitor Starmer, as a nonce in a nursery. And as I've said before, and I cannot stress this enough, you should be thankful the British people haven't resorted to a violent revolution. And let me be absolutely clear. I do not advocate or condone a violent revolution. There comes a time, however, where, much like war, it is going to be a scenario of it's us or them. And as I said, Keir the traitor Starmer...
The next stop is Concord
Will you shut the fuck up? As much as I don't want anything to happen to you, Keir the traitor Starmer, anything that does happen to you, you've only got yourself to blame. And it comes down to, it's us or them. And I guarantee you, if it was me or someone else on the left wing, I'd be going, it would be them dying, 100%, indubitably. I would prefer it to be only in self-defense. Because as I said, I do not condone violent revolution.
The next stop is Vulcan Road Bus Depot.
I really should shoot the tannoy system, shouldn't I? Anyway, it's either me or them, and it's... I'm not dying, that's for sure. Like, think about it. Think of a cornered rat. Even a cornered rat will show its fangs. When you push the British people to the edge, what choice have they got left other than to fight back? That's the way I look at it. And Keir the traitor Starmer is gradually pushing us to the edge of that cliff. And it won't be long before the British people start to realise it's fight or flight. And I tell you now, if they had a choice between them and the establishment, it's going to be the establishment, 100%. No respect for the British people, no respect for the elderly, no respect for the war dead, no respect for our borders or our country. Keir the traitor Starmer is on
next stop is
a downward spiral. He is going down faster than the Titanic. Before long, he will have to resign. And I think at that point, we need to make sure there's a snap general election. Because it has now become blatantly obvious that the traitor party, I mean the Labour Party, or maybe I was right first time, and the Conservative in name only party,
The next stop is Stephen Street. Get off here for Norwich Bus Station, Charcoal Line Services and Chantry Place.
I vented now. Anyway, it won't be long before the British people wake up and realise the mainstream parties are not working. I would prefer it if we didn't vote Reform, but I suspect people will because they see them as the larger party. But I think the cold, bitter truth is we don't need Reform. We need UKIP. We need a party that is small. We need a party that is independent. We need a party that cares for its people. Nick Tenconi has the balls to side with Tommy Robinson, whereas Reform refer to us as that lot. They openly slandered us. They openly disrespected us. And I think after several times of doing that shit, there's got to be a message there. Like, as I said, once, alright. Twice, you're pushing it. 3 times, is there a hidden message in there? But we need a party that is patriotic and populist. We do not need any more of these mainstream shill parties, especially with Keir the Traitor Starmer, the WEF shill, who wants to bring us back into the EU. He's already handed our army over to the EU, control of it at least. He has already started talking about deals with the EU about letting in a whole bunch of migrants. Where does it stop? They want to reverse Brexit, the biggest political vote in British history, by a man, Keir the Traitor Starmer, who was elected on the lowest majority in our history. I think it's high time that the British people start taking out the trash and place it in the dustbin of history where it rightfully belongs. Keir the Traitor Starmer, Tony the War Criminal Blair, Gordon the Bully and Blundering Brown, Treasoner Theresa May, Boris the Clown Johnson, Alistair absolutely shameless Campbell. They all need to be put in the dustbin of history, where they belong. Their complete lack of respect for our war dead, their complete lack of respect for our elderly who have contributed the most, and their complete contempt towards our farmers is an unequivocal sign that this government must go. I do not think this country will last even 6 months, let alone 5 fucking years under this establishment. So we need to do something about it. And if this does not get resolved with a peaceful resolution within the next 3 months, I predict something's going to happen in this country, and it's not going to be pretty. It is going to involve the blood of hundreds, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands or more of people's blood. Let me just grab the cords. Anyway, it is going to lead to something nasty. Blood on the streets. Revolution. I don't want it. None of us want it. None of the other independent journalists want it. But if Keir the Traitor Starmer keeps pushing us into that corner, then like I said, even a cornered rat will show its fangs.